I brought some new wheels and they are ropey as fuck. So yeah, here they are, new wheels. They are, as aforementioned, a little bit ropey. A little bit is putting it lightly. They are very ropey. We've got powder coat peeling off, etc, etc. But the reason for doing so is these wheels here, which is what we had on beforehand, these Weller Steels. I actually really like these Weller Steels, but these need an awful lot of work. They're very rusty, they're very pitted, they're a bit crappy, so they need a lot of work. But the downside to these wheels, even if I did put a bit of work into them, is the fact that they've got quite a big dish on them and they don't now clear my brakes without a spacer, which isn't a problem. We just put a spacer in, but that then, because of the offset of these wheels, makes them poke out of here too much, basically. I could get away with it by putting a stupid amount of camber on there, becoming a member of the camber gang, but it's not really a bit of me, that. So yeah, I've been searching around on Facebook Marketplace, eBay, that kind of thing, for a set of wheels, and I've always had a little bit of a soft spot for the slot backs, and just so happened that these popped up on Facebook, full set of 4. These aren't like slot mags, or these are, I can't remember what they're called now. These are Cobra super slots. So I don't know anything about Cobra wheels, made in the UK, aluminium, etc, etc. Anyway, they are ropey as anything. They've been sat outside for God knows how long. You can see the other two here. I've only got one centre cap, so I need to find some centre caps. They are mega ropey, very horrible and dusty and flaky and crappy, as you can see. So, here's the rub. I paid scrap value for them. And when I say I paid scrap value for them, I reckon if I probably scrapped them, I'd probably double my money, if I'm honest. That's how little I paid for them. So I kind of figured at that price, they're worth a few hours of my time. See if I can make something half decent out of them. So that is what we're going to do tonight. Okay, so I didn't fancy getting my piece of sandpaper and having to scrub all night long, because I kind of figured that was hard work. So I took a few hours of my time and I have come up with something that's really I'm quite impressed with it, to be honest with you. Hold your breath. Look at that. Might not look like much, because it's not much. It's an old XR2 brake disc, no, 1.1 brake disc, an old 1300 CV joint welded to it, very crudely, and a old empty argon canister with a bearing in there, which is from a Z-Tech cam kit. It's a cam pulley, tensioner pulley, just with the guts taken out of it and a couple of very dodgy self-tappers rammed in through the side of it. I've welded a shaft on here, which goes onto this little UJ from an old socket, and then I've attached my power drill to the other end of it. So we have now got a little spinning, and it's not the straightest or truest thing in the world, but it works quite well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bolt up my wheels onto there. I've got a little Jubilee clip which goes around the trigger to pull the trigger in, and then basically I've got myself a little lathy type contraption which I can just get my sandpaper with and just sort of run it in the edges of the wheels, etc. If I need to get the wire brush in there, which is here, I can sort of just get the wire brush and basically hopefully clean these wheels off nice and easy. The other thing I have got hold of or brought down with me tonight is my map gas torch, so I can try and burn off some of that flaky powder coat, because that might make life a little bit easier before we start. So I'm going to pop you over here somewhere on a time lapse so that you can see the wheel go from dirty to being hopefully very clean. And yeah, that's what we're going to do now. Won't lie to you, I'm not exactly sure where we left this video off just that minute ago, because it's been about 8 weeks since I just filmed what you've just seen. Anyway, they're looking good. They're all coming up fairly nicely considering what they were, and they were ropey, as you saw. I mean, you've been sitting around for so long, you see how much dust is starting to build back up on them. But they're all looking pretty good. Apart from this backside, obviously, it still needs to be done. All the insides are as clean as they need to be. Because again, we're not polishing the whole, we're just polishing the fronts, and then the inner rim's going to be painted grey, and so is the like the inner rim and the back of the rim are all going to be painted grey, just to, you know, corrosion resistant. So basically, the reason I didn't finish these all these weeks ago was because I need to get into all these little nooks and crannies. And the idea was I was going to use a belt sander and these little bits here. And I was like, oh, let's go and buy them. Let's go and buy them. Never did. Never did. Kept forgetting about it. Never went and bought them. Never did this, never did that. And 8 weeks later, I finally brought some sander belts, and I finally brought a pack of little doodah brushy things. So I've got it upside down in a bucket. That allows me to get the finger sander all the way in there, and I'll get the drill bit in there and crack on cleaning them up. Hopefully by the time I finish up tonight, we'll be ready to put some primer on them. One down. I mean, they're not perfect. We're not looking for perfection here because they're never going to be perfect, but they're good enough to take coat primer, and they'll be good enough for a splash of grey. Can't remember what it's called now. That grey in there. It's also going on there because I've got some left. So yeah, they'll be good enough for that. So that's 1 down. 3 to go. I have to count then. 3 to go. Right. See you in a minute. Okay. Right. Just like that. It is another day, by the way, in case you're careful enough to notice I'm in a different t-shirt. But we've got them all cleaned up. Just sprayed them all down with the air gun, made sure they're all clean and dust free, and they came up pretty good considering what they were. And the level, as I've mentioned probably about 1,000,000 times in this video already, we're not striving for perfection here. However, they came up pretty good. I shot a little bit of primer on this one the other night just to see kind of how they were going to come up. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with them. I'm ready to spray them. As you can see, I've set up a little spray area here. Professional spray booth, obviously, really not. But I've got the lights on just so I can kind of see what's going on. I've got the little heater, 3 kilowatt heater set up on the bench over there to try and get the temperature up in it, and it is really quite warm in here tonight. It's about 15 degrees outside. It must be probably about 27 degrees in here now with that running, so it is quite sweaty. Primer. I was, and I can't remember if I mentioned or not, but I was going to shoot this 4:1 2K primer onto them from the gun. And then I thought about it, it's bare metal, I wanted to use an etch for a base coat. So I went to Halfords, and I know Halfords, went to Halfords and brought a can of etch so that I can probably get a coat and a half on each wheel of etch primer first. And then, because I didn't really want to get the gun dirty with primer for just 1 coat, I did also cop out and brought a standard primer to get another coat and a half on top of the etch, and then I will shoot the colour through the gun, because it just saves, you know, having to get the gun dirty with primer, get the gun dirty with, you know, wash it down, then get it dirty with paint, and then wash it down again. I have only got the 1 gun down here. I haven't got a primer gun, and I haven't got a primer gun, I haven't got a paint gun. I haven't got a primer gun, I haven't got a paint gun, and I haven't got a separate lacquer gun. It's just, I just use the same gun for everything because professionalism, obviously. So yeah, enough waffling. I'm gonna shoot these up with some etch primer, and yeah, I'll see you in a minute when we shoot them with some paint. Ooh. Alexa, pause. Well, mate, I think I sent her a little too hard. Quite runny. There's one, there's one, there's one. The worst one though is that one in there, because it's going to be sitting really thick right on the lip. So yeah, I might have to do something about that one. This one, apart from that there, came out alright. In reality, from a distance, given that I sprayed them in about 7 minutes flat, they're all right. And like I said, we're not looking for perfection. Most of what I've sprayed grey is going to be on the inside of the wheel anyway, so you're not going to see it. It's just a case of protecting it more than anything. But I've laid it on, well, obviously I've laid it on really thick because it started running. It's quite heavy paint this, it's got quite a lot of fleck in it. And I can't paint decent, you know, I can't paint properly with just standard 2K, let alone metallic with bits of fleck and all sorts of crap in it. So, you know, amateur hour over here. But from a distance, they look all right. Once they're dry, I'll polish them up, I'll probably manage to rub some of the really bad runs out of it anyway, to be honest with you. And then I've got a mop and some G3 compound, so I can just give it a buff over. But yeah, once they're dry, bolt them back up to the jig over there. Give the faces and the lips another good old polish, because what I didn't do was I didn't mask off the inside of here. So this will all be covered on with overspray, which I did intentionally because I know that they're going to obviously go back in there and get another rub all the way back and a polish and a sand and a wet sand and everything anyway. So I wasn't bothered about the overspray. So yeah, let them dry, get them bolted up, and then I will get some tyres put on them. Well, get the tyres that are under there put on them. So yeah, I guess you guys will see them in a minute. I'm not going to record me polishing the face of them again because you've already seen that once. There he goes, copyright infringement again. Yeah, I'm not going to bother. I'm not going to bother showing you me polishing them up again because you've already seen that once. So cut to a clip when they've got some rubber on and we put them on the car and they look fantastic, obviously. And they're on, and they look quite nice. I may have slightly miscalculated the spacer though, because they are still sticking out quite a bit, as you can see. I mean, the tracking and camber adjustment does need to be done. As you can see, this is towing right the way out and the camber is reasonably negative. This one I've got lined up straight. If I move the steering wheel, if you watch the top of the wheel, you can see it's dipping in and out with the steering. So I think that's because the top camber nuts are a little bit loose, so obviously it's pushing in and out as the steering's going around. But the whole thing needs a four-wheel alignment and stuff anyway, and I'm not going to go mad trying to set any of that up at the moment because Shane Baker SB Parts is sending a full bolt running kit. Because Shane Baker SB Parts is sending me a running nuts and bolts kit for all the running gear. So struts, camber bolts, front TCAs, cradle bolts, basically everything that bolts up to suspension and running gear. Send me a whole bolt kit because at the moment it's kind of cobbled together with some old bolts, some new bolts, and I just kind of want everything to have decent new bolts on. So he does a bolt kit, so I got that off of him this week, and he's going to bang it in the post to me. And when that turns up, obviously I'll show you guys us sorting all that out. But for now, the wheels are on for what they were and for what they are. I'm quite impressed. They've come out really nice. They actually fit the back really nice. They kind of with the stance on the back, they're really nice. I'm really happy with how they fit on the back. A little bit pokey on the front still, but that's life. So anyway, quick tot up to work out how much these wheels cost me. So I brought the wheels for £10 each, £10 a wheel, so that's £40. I spent £18 on sandpaper and bits and pieces to clean them up with. My little jig over there cost me nothing because it was made full of scraps. The paint I already had, again, so that cost me nothing. Let's say £8 for some thinners because I brought a new bottle of thinners to clean the gun out afterwards, so let's add £8 on for the sake of that. So it's £20, £18, £8, sorry, £40, £18, £8, and I got them fitted, tyres fitted, and bits and pieces at Lordswood Motor Centre, like I said, for 20 quid. So bang on there. So that's what, 40, 50, 60, 78, 90 something up there somewhere. Not great with maths, but it's on the screen, you can see it. So yeah, for the grand total of whatever that is there, 90 something quid, quite happy. They're not a bad set of wheels for sub 100 quid, fitted, ready to go. So I will I'll take that. Right, thanks for watching, boys and girls. I will see you on the next one. And as I've waffled about in most of them, the next video is going to be the first drive of the car, which actually has happened by now, if I'm completely honest with you. It's happened, it's been filmed. You're just going to see this video before you see that one. So there you go. Right, like, comment, subscribe. As always, catch you on the next one.